Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here at the Movement Podcast. Before we dive into today's episode, we want to ask you to keep the conversation going. Please feel free to drop a comment or smash the like button. If you really like what you hear today, feel free to share the link on any of your social media platforms so your friends and family can get a chance to jump in as well. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know you will.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Movement Podcast. I am your host, Brendan, and today I am joined by a guy who obviously needs an introduction because I'm sure you don't know who he is. No, he is. I was struggling because I've opened up the other three podcasts by saying this person is one of my best friends in ministry, or one of my best friends, and I don't even know how to describe you. You're definitely not a stranger. Yeah. You're definitely one of my better friends, but I don't want people to think that I just keep saying, one of my best friends.
Everybody's my best friend.
Yeah.
I feel that.
I mean, I guess I could say you're one of my best black friends.
We'll go with that one.
But then everybody might think I'm racist or something.
Yeah. No, probably not.
Okay.
It's 2019.
Pedro's over there going, how do I edit that part out?
You don't. You keep it.
Mason Buckner. The Mason Buckner.
This is where the hand claps come in?
Yes. We dub in the hand claps right there. AKA DJ, what is it?
D13, man.
D13.
Yeah.
D13. Man, I literally have been waiting for this podcast because I know that this is the one that could go off the rails so
at any moment
quickly.
in time. Any moment in time.
So quickly.
Any moment in time.
Let me help you understand who Mason is just a little bit. Mason and I met, I guess 3 years ago, and a crazy story that we'll get into later. But ever since literally the week that we met, we started having breakfast nearly every single Thursday. When I say nearly, I'm talking we miss one out of every 10 weeks or something like that.
Something like that.
There's nobody that I consistently eat meals with more than my wife, other than you, which is
it's awesome.
weird.
It's awesome.
No,
I think it's dope.
It is.
I think it's dope. I think it's really dope.
It's definitely the most consistent meeting that I think I've actually attended in my whole life.
Yeah.
So
and you make them even harder on me because I have to wake up at the butt crack of dawn to eat. So, I
we eat at 9. Just so everybody's aware, we ain't eating at 6. We eat breakfast at 9. This joke is I gotta wake up. No, I like the fact that you didn't feel like you needed to dress up.
Thank you.
For us today. Yeah,
Thank
just
you.
Come crawling out of bed.
I'm a firm believer as come as you are. So I'm a firm believer in that, man. You don't have to dress up to do much around this area.
No, he thought the podcast was just going to be recorded.
I did.
Audio.
I thought it was just audio. I did not know we were going to come into a whole studio, the Breakfast Club set up.
We do it big here, man. We do it big here.
Y'all do.
But I want to get into your story, man, because you've got an incredible story.
Right.
So let's go all the way back. Tell me about life growing up in your household, man, with all that.
Life growing up.
Where'd you grow up?
Grew up in Lubbock, and then eventually moved to Weatherford. But I'll tell you about Lubbock first, man. Lubbock was with my dad because my mom and my dad kind of separated or whatever. So it was different because my brothers, my dad kind of liked my brothers more than he liked me.
I can see that, yeah.
So, and they were my stepbrothers, so they were like somebody else's kids.
Gotcha.
And I actually came from him.
Okay.
But, I stayed there. Funny story. It was picture day, and I remember this like it was nothing. It was picture day, bro, and they went to go get suits. You know what I'm saying? So it was they got them brand new TD Jakes sharp suits.
Let's go.
And I got to go to Salvation Army. And I had this corduroy boy, dog. It was so tight.
Was it chocolate brown?
It was chocolate brown. It was chocolate brown, bro. And I had the little white, patch thing on it. So yeah, man, it was that. I think that's one thing I just could not stand. So I ended up leaving. Told my dad, hey, I can't be here anymore.
What age was that?
I was probably going into the 6th grade.
Okay.
Moved to Weatherford. Yeah,
Weatherford.
Went to Weatherford. I threw up signs just in case y'all couldn't hear that through the
it's
whatever.
Not West Side, that is Weatherford. For those of you, he threw up the
W.
The
W's. So went to Weatherford, started, and then that's when basketball kicked in. Mm-hmm. Basketball, all the way up till senior year. And then after that, I pretty much signed a letter of intent to go to Cisco Junior College. Blew out my knee and had a baby.
That's
that was
that's
yeah.
That's some timetable. I
Yeah.
blew out my knee and had a baby.
I blew out my knee the same summer and had a child.
So we're talking about senior or just already graduated?
Like right after I graduated, we're like about to go playing a game I shouldn't have been playing.
Sure.
Blew out my knee.
Okay, let's pause here and talk about, okay, up into this moment, was there any, did you at all, was God a part of your life at all, like with your mom?
Oh,
all
no,
them?
not at all.
Was church.
Like
okay.
church was like, you know, from birth to about 11. And my mom gave us the option
Sure.
to be like, hey, you want to go to church? I was like, no. No, I do not. Sunday morning is a good time to chill. And the football games come on at 12. So,
there you go.
You know, I just didn't go. I was done. And then there was, I guess I didn't feel like I got burned. I just felt like salty towards the church I was at. But I mean, the preacher, I didn't understand him because I was a kid. You know, I wasn't.
So there wasn't
ready
like
for it.
children's ministries in the church.
I mean, they
you
had
grew up?
children's ministries.
Did you?
But
be
it
honest,
was.
Did you grow up in an all black church?
It was an all black church.
Let's go, man.
It was an all black church.
Like I want to pastor an all black church so bad.
You could do it.
Thank you.
I see you doing it.
Stop it, man.
I see you doing that.
You're gonna make me blush.
But
Okay.
like, it was an all black church, and there was probably like 8 of us.
Let's go. Strong.
You know what I'm saying? We were strong in there, but
Strong.
like, nah. But for real though, it just wasn't right. Something wasn't right. I wasn't into God. I was like basketball, you know, basketball or nothing.
Had
you
your
know?
full focus.
Yeah, and it was almost kind of sad looking back, because like, we'll talk about that later. Go ahead.
Okay, so blew out your knee, basketball hopes over. Now you got a baby on the way or baby here. Where does your life go from here?
Oh man, everybody's seen. I have tattoos on my. I have tattoos.
I got you.
And
I've seen them.
Yeah, I have tattoos on me. And I have a certain tattoo, and it's a logo that I had that I started because after I played basketball, after I couldn't play ball, I was like, I got to do something.
Yeah.
So I went to school, went to Remington College, got a
Okay.
degree, started doing graphic design, and came up with this men's magazine.
Okay.
It was a men's magazine, and it was called THCK, and it stands for Thick Hot Curvy Cuties.
Okay.
And it was nothing but like, girls.
Girls.
A lot of them.
Was it one of these magazines that had a plastic sleeve around it, or?
I mean, yeah. It wasn't. It was, yeah.
It was tastefully.
It was tastefully. It was very tasteful. I mean, you know, it wasn't just out there. But
So you just started a magazine.
I just started a magazine.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
How, I know from a little bit of it, but like that got you some recognition.
Yeah.
In the hip hop world and like kind of the urban.
Yeah, that's
environment.
how I met like Rick Ross and T.I. and a lot of cats from Atlanta, because they were like, the people here in Dallas-Fort Worth were just so shocked that somebody was doing it.
Yeah.
That they were like, hey, you got to meet this guy. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll do it. Let's meet him. And I'd link up with them, put them in there, and they would just sell. And this is like out the trunk of the car, bro. Like we were selling them like CDs.
Really?
Like for real. We were selling these things
You
like
just pop
CDs.
up, open the
Pop
trunk.
up in front of a club. Hey, I got these magazines. What's up? And everybody would just, oh my gosh. And girls want to be in it. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like I had to go find models. They were just coming to us.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I am impressed by your entrepreneurial
Thank you.
mindset,
Yes.
although it might have been shifted in the wrong
Oh,
direction.
totally
at
in the
time.
wrong direction. Totally in the wrong
So
direction.
where did this influence take you from the magazine? Because you were running that magazine for a bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
you
ran the
were
magazine for a
you
while.
were actually getting some notoriety like in the city in Fort
Yeah,
Worth.
yeah.
You showed me
Yeah.
like a magazine
Fort
or
Worth
newspaper.
Weekly.
There,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Businessman of the Year or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
man.
must be nice.
No, it's not. It was nice, but it's not nice, man. You know, because at the time, it was trying to survive. That's all it was trying to make it without going the serious dope route. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it could have been that too. As easy as I could have been slinging magazines, it could have been slinging dope, bro. Like, for real.
So that was So even then, you were like, "There's a line I don't want to cross."
Yeah, there's a line I didn't want to cross.
So I'm gonna go up and do this side thing, so I don't have to.
Exactly.
What you consider the dark.
Yeah, exactly.
Places.
And
Okay.
then meeting Melissa was like my wife is the one that was pretty much my focal point of changing from that into DJing. Because
what's up, Mimi? What's up, girl?
Yeah, I met Melissa, and she had a friend who was a big DJ in the community, in the club scene or whatever, right? And he was like, dude, what you're doing is dope. It's awesome. You're gonna be able to do it for a while, but this is a career that you could possibly do. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, show me. And then with the magazine stuff, what's going on behind the scenes with money, because you know how people are when it comes to pretty much free money, and you could do it I gave it up. I just let them have it. I gave my partners I just signed it over and just let them have it.
You literally just stepped out of the magazine altogether.
Just stepped out of the magazine altogether.
Looking back, what drove you to that decision? Or at the time, what do you feel like drove you to the decision to just give up a profitable career?
Deception.
Really?
Yeah, people being shady over something that I was freely with anyways. You know what I'm saying? It'd be different if I was like, no, this is mine. Nobody's can have it. Nobody's going to touch it. But it wasn't that. It was just, people just wanted to do it their way, and they wanted to be the boss. They wanted to be the innovator. So I was just like, okay.
Drama and deception.
Yeah, you can have it.
So you make a turn, make a shift here, and you start doing DJ.
Yeah, start DJing. My boy, he works at, this isn't any better, but he works at strip clubs, you know? And he was like, dude, this is good money. And I was like, man, this can't be that good money until those tips started coming in. Bro, like I was just making hand over fist DJing every night, and then
so you were dancing at a male strip club?
No. I was DJing at a female strip club. Pedro, get that out of there.
Pedro, do not take that out.
Get that out of there. No, I was DJing at a female strip club, man.
Okay.
All of them.
Yeah.
Baby dolls, DGs.
We don't need to give
people
reasons to go visit.
I'm not there anymore, so don't go. Okay, I'm not there anymore, so don't go.
That's not the reason they don't need to go, because you're not there. There's
okay.
other reasons.
Yeah, you're right. But other strip clubs.
Gotcha.
And I got big. Next thing I know, people were paying me big money to go to those clubs and be there on certain nights. And
dude, you got that like Midas touch. Like everything you go,
I don't try to.
Good. I think it's work ethic. Obviously, you work hard at what you do, and you love succeeding. But how long did the DJ thing? How long were you in that world?
I was in that world until I heard the voice of God.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
What was this voice of God? When did you hear that? How did it happen? All that stuff. Because this is my favorite story.
It's amazing. Every time I tell it, I be thinking, man, this is just wild. This run is unbelievable. I was about to get in the shower because we had a party that night at the club, and I was going to DJ, and I hear 3 beers, 2 shots, and I'm like, okay. I don't know what that was, because everybody has an internal, voice.
The subconscious voice that you,
know what I'm saying?
You thinking,
Yeah, and this wasn't that. And it really just got my attention to where I was like, okay, it shook me to where I paused. You know what I'm saying? I'm like just stiff. And then I was like, okay, well, whatever. Let's get in the shower, get dressed.
Yeah.
Get to the car. Me and Mimi hop in. We get to the club. The lady comes up. She has this bottle of Ciroc. Because that was my drink. I had a big bottle of Ciroc. And I was like, no, I got to drink 3 beers, 2 shots. So just bring me 2 beers right now. 3 beers, and I'll just keep the shots for later. Yeah. She was like, all right, cool. So she put them on ice, had them for me the rest of the night or whatever. And then the next day is when I was getting up, and Mimi was like, hey, I got these tickets.
Let's pause right here before we even get to that point. What is your normal routine when you're going to a club DJing?
Oh man, if I go to the DJ, it's lit. It's lit. Like, we drinking the bottle. You know what I'm saying? We're drinking the bottle. We're going out. We doing everything, having fun. It's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning stuff.
So this idea of, 3 beers?
Yeah.
And a shot?
2 shots.
2 shots is like a compression greatly of your normal drinking.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Normal drinking. Like for you, that's sobriety.
Yeah, I was sober. I was legit sober, bro.
Okay.
For real. Legit sober.
And what were you, did you actually stick to that? You stuck to that night?
Yeah, that night I stuck to it.
Wow.
I did exactly that. I don't know why. I guess because it was just so loud in my head.
Yeah.
That I just knew it was something.
3 beers, 2 shots.
Yeah.
3 beers, 2 shots.
And that's what it was like. It was convicting.
Yeah.
It kept saying it. And then I was like, oh man, because there was times that I was like, no, I'm going to drink. No, I'm not. I just kept listening. I don't know why. It was just something I did.
All right, we'll come back to that in a moment. Let's go to the next day. Melissa.
Okay, so the next day, Melissa comes up to me. She goes, hey, I got these tickets.
Which this day is now Sunday.
Yeah, it was a Sunday or something like that. And she goes, I got these tickets. And, you know, I didn't have no hangover. So I was like, cool, what's up? What we going to do? She goes, I got these tickets for Pirates Cove. And
Water park.
Water park.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, all right, cool, let's go. So we pull all the way out to good old Burleson, Texas.
Bro, it's got to be better than Weatherford. Come on now.
Okay, we'll go with that a little bit. A little bit.
Yeah.
There's a couple more sprinkled in there, let's say that. So we go out to Burleson, and we pull up, and we get in the line and everything. And I'm looking at everybody like, wow, everybody here is super friendly. Golly, look at this. They're so nice. These people are so nice.
Did you know at this point what you were coming to?
No, I had no clue.
That is awesome. I didn't even know this. That's no clue. So dope.
You know, I had no clue. I walked up and I'm like, oh man, these people are super nice. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, Melissa, how'd you hear about this place? She goes, well, you know, my mom told me, and her and Barb are like best friends, so she calls her mom.
Yeah.
And she's like, Barb told me about it. And she goes, Mason, this is a church event. I said, what? I was instantly like, I was kind of mad.
You're mad, yeah.
I was kind of mad because like, why would you bring me? That's why they're nice. They're nice because they're church people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But I also want to look at, like, so Mimi, Melissa, at the time, she's not, like, going to church or anything either. Like, it's not like she's been consistently going to church, got this great relationship with God, and now she's trying to drag you out. Right. She literally just saw an opportunity. Hey, free water park. Yeah, it's with the church. No big deal. Let's just go. She knew you weren't going to be down with it. So she hid that from you. But and so you find yourself around all these nice people.
Super nice.
Super nice.
So, anyways, we get inside, right? Well, we're going inside, and that's when Melissa's putting the baby down. I'm like, okay, she got me. That was good. We sit there. I'm sitting there on a table, or whatever, and everything just gets HD clear. Like everything just 4K HD clear.
Explain that.
Like,
what do you mean by that?
Vivid. Like I don't know. It's like I had 20/20 vision or something. I don't know. It was weird. And I hear, hey, Mason, this is what heaven is like. And I'm like, what does that mean? And I'm just looking, and I just see everybody just smiling. And it was like, it wasn't just like, it was black people, it was white people, Hispanics, like all different kind of people at our church, you know? Yeah. And at the time, I was just thinking, man, this church is really diverse. And I hear this is what heaven's like, and the first thing I do is just cry. I'm sitting there just arms folded, like crying, thinking, what am I supposed to do? Why am I hearing this voice? What's going on?
Bro, you're crying at Pirates Cove.
Yes, I was.
Was it that same voice that you felt like you heard the night before in the show?
It was.
Okay.
It was.
And this joke just said, this is what heaven's like. And you, grown man, just start crying at a water park.
By myself while my wife has walked off. So I'm just
Dang, I wish you had a video of that or something.
I'm pretty sure everybody was looking at me crazy.
Because I know what you were wearing. You just tank topped up with some long Jordan shorts, pretending like they're swimsuits, just like in flip flops.
Yeah, in flip flops. But just I walk up. I hear the voice that calm down, Mason. You just relax. There's somebody you need to talk to.
Now, because I want to talk about the voice for a little bit. Because obviously, as we go later into it, we'll clarify obviously what we believe that is. But what did it sound like? Because obviously, we believe that was the voice of God, the Holy Spirit working in you, trying to get you where you wanted to be. Because here, I mean, at Christ Church, we just believe that the Holy Spirit works in the heart of the believer and the unbeliever.
Right.
And in the heart of the unbeliever, the Holy Spirit is constantly drawing us.
Yeah.
Scripture tells that no one comes to the Father unless they are drawn by me. And so we've talked about this a lot, that initial thought or voice that you heard was the Holy Spirit trying to get you where he needs you to get what you needed from God.
Right.
But I've always been so fascinated for you. What did it sound like? Not like, what did it feel like in the moment? Like, were you just like, that's my thoughts?
Right.
Or why am I thinking about that? Or like, what did it?
The thing about it, and I want to make sure I'm clear when I say this. When I hear it, it doesn't sound like me, but because most people think, oh, it's got to have a hint of you in it, and it does, but it doesn't. It's like, I remember I don't know if it was you, or if it was your father who said that if you were in a room of 700,000 people and your mom called your name, could you hear that voice? And that's how loud it is. Like, it's like, I know that. It just
that's how recognizable.
That's how
it
recognizable
is.
it is. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
So, like, I mean, it's clear. It's clear and affirmative. It's firm. It's not no, hey, no. It's like basic. This is what needs to happen.
That's dope. Okay, so voice tells you calm down.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all right, and then keep going with the story.
Okay, so the voice says calm down, and there's somebody you need to talk to. So I was like, all right, cool. Maybe this will work stuff out for me because I was nervous. You know what I'm saying? And there was this dude, whenever I first walked in, black dude, you know what I'm saying? He had on a Warriors hat. I was like, okay, that seems like a nice guy. So I'll go talk to him because I saw him when I walked in. And I was walking to him, and I hear, stop. But whenever I hear stop, we got eye contact, you know what I'm saying? So I'm in.
You're walking over to dap this dude up, and you just freeze like.
Yeah, I just freeze.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just freeze. And I hear that's not who you needed to be talking to. So I awkwardly kind of.
You don't even go say nothing?
I don't say nothing.
You're like,
Listen, I saw him here at church. He's at the front sometimes.
okay.
He's got the beard, bigger dude. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's here a lot. And I told him, you just don't understand how you work in my testimony.
Yeah.
So,
you were almost the guy.
You were almost the guy. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even know if that's more of an insult.
It could have been you.
Yeah.
No. But I hear the voice go to the baptisms. I go, okay.
Right? Because on that day we were, at that time, we hadn't started our big immerse services yet. And so we were actually having baptisms in the lazy river of the Pirates Cove. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, okay, let's do it. And at that time, I pretty much submitted to it. You know what I'm saying? I felt like at that time, whatever this voice told me to do, I was going to follow it.
Yeah, you're trying to figure out where
it was going to lead me.
What's the end of the golden road?
Yeah, where is this? Where are we going with this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I end up going to the baptisms, and I'm scanning because I'm like, who am I supposed to talk to? Who am I supposed to talk to? And then this bald head guy comes out the water.
Wow, why you gotta be bald?
Red head, red beard, everything. And I was like, I was like, and I heard that's who you need to be talking to. Go talk to him as soon as he comes out the water.
So this dude sounds like a super intelligent, good-looking guy. What did y'all talk about?
So I walk up to him and I told him everything. I told him everything that I just told you guys right now.
Hold on. Let's start with how this conversation happened. Because you walked up to me,
right?
Like you looked like you had been crying, and you
Yeah.
walked up to me, and I'm like, I'm about to get attacked at a water park by a crazy person.
Yeah.
And you go,
I've kind of felt that.
and you started the conversation off so wrong.
I did.
Because you go, hey, man, this might sound weird. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. You go, this might sound weird, but
Yeah.
I heard this voice. I'm like, oh. And I just start praying. like you're talking. I'm smiling during the whole church
Yeah, you
thing.
were smiling
But I'm
the
like,
whole
God,
time.
either remove this dude from me. And I think Micah was standing close to me.
Yeah.
And he gave me like a, you okay? And I was just like, why don't you just stay close?
I believe it.
Oh, 100%, bro.
I believe it, dude. That day right there was probably the most unbelievable day of my life.
Yeah.
Just being able to hear that voice that clear and lead. And the thing about it is what tripped me out is when you said, "Hi, it's not crazy. My name is Brendan. I am the executive pastor at Christ Church."
Right, because for the moment you just walked up and you're like, "Hey man, this might sound weird, but I heard this voice last night in the shower," and you walked me through exactly what we just talked to, and I'm like I took a breath because I'm like, okay, this dude's not crazy.
Right.
Okay, this dude is dealing with a spiritual issue. Like God's trying to get a hold of him. And then I'm excited because I'm like, okay, where are we going from here? And I remember asking, I'm like, okay, so what do we do now? And you're like, bro, that's what I came to ask you.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm like, nah, man, I ain't leading you in something you ain't ready to do. So I asked you, I was like, so what are we going to do now? Like, what do you think you should do? And you remember you were like,
church, go to church.
I guess I should go to church. I was like, I guess you should.
Right.
And then you immediately started making excuses. You're like, but the deal is like, but you got to know though, like I DJ in the clubs, which you didn't mention as a strip club. He's like, I DJ in the clubs like late and it's really hard for me to get up. I'm like, nah, man, it's straight. We got a Saturday night service.
How am I supposed to tell you? You just told me you were the preacher.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm supposed to go, hey, preacher, I also DJ at strip clubs.
Tomorrow night I'll be at the strip club. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll see you there. No. So, no, yeah, but you're like, I DJ in the club Saturday night. It's really hard for me to get up.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool, though. We got like an 11:15 service. And
you
your eyes,
like
as soon as I said that, you were like, dang, man.
Yeah, you hit me with it. You hit me with it. Unexpected.
And and a week later, you are in service, up in the balcony in the far right side. I remember I was closing out service, and I was like, if you're a guest with us this morning, first time, second time, third time, and I gave you like a little, like, what's up? And I could just see you going, like, dang, he saw me. Closed out that service, dapped you up, said what's up, and then the next service, I actually wasn't even in town.
Yeah.
You came up, you talked to one of our other pastors, Lionel, spoke with him for a little bit. And
that part was crazy also because I was in the stadium seating, and they had, at the end of the services how we have announcements or whatever, and it was like the old, I hate to say Young at Heart, I'm sorry. It was a Young at Heart, and then it was a Women's Magnolia Conference.
So all the stuff that you were really involved in.
And then it was, I was definitely in that. And then it got dark, and it was like the back to school bash, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And then I heard, good, because you're going to be a youth pastor.
Oh, dang.
And I was like, what?
That voice just keeps
surprising
you.
I said, what? So loud that people below me were looking up like, is this kid all right?
Middle of announcement video.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So I was like, what is that? And then that's what I talked to Lionel. And he told me I was just being called,
Yeah. So. And then I was in the next service. Lionel told me, he's like, hey, man, your dude came up. I was like, Mason? Yeah. And so the next week I was there. I actually preached, and you came down to the altar, and I got to pray with you, lead you in the sinner's prayer, and man, it's just been a trip.
It feels like I've been here forever.
I know.
I feel like I've been a part of this for a long time, and the church has been so welcoming. Yeah. Like for real, like from everybody, it's been super welcoming. I haven't felt that distant or away from me, except for you, but you don't count. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not a nice person, so.
Yeah, fair enough.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, next I want to get into, I love your story. I love how you came to that water park, how you came to the church, all that fun stuff. But I want to look at now because we're 3 years from it?
Yeah.
Almost 2.5 or 3?
Almost 2.5.
Almost
like
2.5.
Yeah.
Dang, it seems like it's been a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
2.5. And so, what's going on now?
Now,
or since that moment, let's take it from you gave your life to Christ.
Yeah.
A couple weeks later, you got baptized at our immerse service, and then you were
my daughter. That was one of the most amazing moments that I've ever been a part of to actually see her get baptized, and that was dope. I think
and that was actually the first time that Mimi came to church.
Yeah, that was the first time Mimi came to church.
Because we started having lots of conversations, and you were like, dude, I want my whole family here. I want my whole family here. And I just kind of kept saying, just be patient.
Yeah.
Be patient.
Yeah.
And there was this expectation, which I'm sure was hard to handle, that I've got this crazy thing happening in me.
Man, you don't understand.
Why is it not happening?
You don't understand how bad that is. It's like being able to feel God and wanting them to feel God the same way that you feel God. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And but not being too pushy with it at the same time. Because you got to remember, like sometimes even today, me and my daughter, she kind of struggles with it because she feels that I was different. You know what I'm saying? And now seeing me now, I'm way different. You know,
sure.
I'm way more into God. I think more God first before I think about world first.
Yeah.
And it kind of messes her up sometimes to where she's like, wow, your brain thinks differently now. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think how we got together and made it work is I had to let her know that I'm always dad. You know what I'm saying? No matter what. And with Mimi, I think Mimi just sees, I think it just drips down on Mimi. She sees stuff happen, blessings that are happening that I have no control over.
Yeah.
And I just say, hey, let's pray over this and let's see if it happens. And she sees it come through. She sees a blessing come and she's like, oh, wow, that's major. So, I mean, I think that's what's bringing her more and more along. So.
Yeah. And I know it's frustrating because we talked about it so much, but like, were you ever tempted to just be like, hey, you're coming to church?
Yes.
But you never did, right?
I never did.
I
never did.
We kept having that conversation.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, what do I say? What do I say?
Yeah.
I'm like, you just got to live. You got to live your life in such a way that it's attractive enough.
Right.
That they come out. And then there was those pivotal moments, like when you and your daughter got baptized.
Yeah.
Mimi was like, all right, I'm going to be there. I remember the first time she walked in, and I got to hear a little bit of her story, which would be dope to get on this one day too. She was like, I did kind of grow up in the church, hurt by the church, didn't know if I trusted it anymore. And we were like, dang, it's complete opposites. You both found yourself away from the church, but for different reasons. Yeah. And so hers coming to Christ Church was more of a healing thing, and a trusting thing.
Definitely.
Like she was like that was the difference. You jumped off the high dive, made a big splash in the church, and she started at the baby end, just like putting her toe in with floaties full on and like a snorkel. And she was just like, I don't know. So her on-ramp was slower and more gradual, but the truth is you're both now at that point where you truly are on fire for God, asking, okay, what can I do?
Right.
It's just there was a difference in how you got there.
The approach.
Yeah, we as Christians and as people who are so in love with the idea of new believers, like that's the thing that drives me the most, is realizing that there's somebody I could speak to today. There's somebody that I can encounter, somebody that could hear my sermon that has not given God a try, like at all. And today could be the day that bang, they plunge into the deep waters. But the truth is sometimes it's a consistency of you modeling Christ in front of them, that they're literally just gradually walking into the pool. And not everybody's going to be diving off the platform like you did, even though that's the cool celebratory moment, because it's like today you were lost and now you are found. And there's some people that span takes weeks, months, years.
That's true.
But the cool thing was that you never gave up hope that was going to happen. Now, there's some times it got really, really difficult.
Yes, it did.
I remember some breakfasts where you're like, dude, it just ain't going to happen. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And we just constantly were like, let's just keep praying. Let's be patient. And now,
she's
dude,
here.
not only is she here, but she's working in ministry with you. She's right beside you. Like, dude, I think that her change is as big, if not bigger than yours, because she was so pushy away from it.
Let me say this to you also. She told me, and this is not to toot your horn, because I don't like doing that. But you and your father, the way that y'all preach is on a level that a person who isn't in the church will understand.
Okay.
And I think that's the thing that she tells me that got her. Because I asked her, I was like, she goes, man, whenever they speak, I can't stop listening. Now that's major for a person who preaches, to be able to connect with somebody who's not in the life of following Christ and have them connect so deep that they can't stop listening. Yeah. That's major on you guys. That's major on you guys.
I appreciate it. And there's no tooting horns possible, because that's our goal. We want to connect with people, and we don't want to just give a Bible lesson. We want to, constantly when we preach, we're thinking about how do we connect with all people.
Right.
If I'm just preaching a cute Bible lesson to a bunch of Christians, then all we're going to have is a church with just a bunch of Christians. But we want broken people. We want hurting people. We want lost people.
Right.
We're a church where everyone belongs, and that means everyone doesn't always believe when they're sitting in the pews. Like, you don't have to believe to belong. We want you to feel comfortable here, which is what Mimi was all about. Mm-hmm. Like, you walked into the water park going, this place is awesome.
Right.
And you were already in. You just had to figure out the steps to get in.
Right,
where she was like, I'm gonna walk in. I'll be here for a while. Like, there was multiple sermons where I looked at you afterwards like, what's the day of the day? And you're like,
no,
I'm like, dang, I thought I killed that thing. How did she not get saved? I got saved during that message.
Right.
But, it takes time. Mm-hmm. Everybody's different, right?
Yes.
Everybody's different. And so, dang, you talked about it, that back to school bash. That's the first thing that you came up to me and you're like, I want to be involved in that.
Yeah.
And you talked to Pastor Jeremy.
Yeah.
And
he was the most animated person I've ever met whenever I first met him.
They've seen the video. He's crazy.
I didn't know if that was real. I was like, dude, this guy right here is on 1,000.
It seems so fake, right?
It
then
does.
like you go into like a one-on-one meeting with him and he is the exact same.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just like an animaniac. Yeah. He's just high energy all the time.
Yeah.
And you were like, all right, I want to get involved in this, whatever it is, however I can. Yeah. And you literally just showed up. Like you didn't really have a job necessarily. Nothing. You were just like, I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
And
loved it.
You saw a bunch of teenagers on fire for God, man.
Yeah. The kids were wanting to know more about God. And, it was weird to me because whenever I was their age, I wanted to know about basketball.
Right.
I wanted to know about girls.
Yeah.
These kids were so in tune with trying to hear from God. It was like, wow, that's amazing. It's next level.
Yeah. So then you started, I know, because I was there, we started asking the question, okay, what level is God calling you to be involved?
Yeah.
Like, what's he wanting you to do?
And
let's preface this with this. So there's some drastic things that changed between that first day and when you started really jumping into ministry, because I didn't want to push you into anything that you weren't prepared to do.
Right.
Or had the moral integrity to do. There's some for real conversations that we got to have that honestly I felt like we were close enough that I could question you on some of those things, like, hey man, what's the club situation?
Yeah.
What's the drinking situation? Different things like that. And there were some things you had to cut out of your life in order to prepare yourself to be
lost a lot of money. Can I not say that?
No, you can.
Okay, yeah, I lost a lot of money.
No, because that's the thing. Everybody thinks, hey, man, if you come to know God, like, you're going to be healthy, wealthy, wise, skinny. Like, God's going to bless you because now you're in the favor. Like, man, all that stuff the world tried to give you.
I had to get a regular job.
The grind changed.
The grind changed. Definitely. I had to get a regular job.
Like, that was a real... life-altering decisions.
That was a real life-altering decision.
You were like, hey, bro, like we having breakfast, and you'd come in like that face, and I knew it was like, oh, we're about to have a real conversation. Yeah. And you'd be like, hey, man, they text me if I could DJ this weekend. Yeah. I'm like, and I tried my best never to answer the questions unless you were like, no, you need to, and I'd be like, so what you gonna do? Yeah. And like,
you do that to me a lot. You do that to me a lot, and I'd be like, oh, man, you are no help.
And you go, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot.
I'm like, dang, that's dope.
They were hitting me with it. And then, you know how hard it was to be like, I'm not turning that G's, bands, you know what I'm saying? Down. Yeah. Turn it down. You can't, no. That's not what, God's got something better. But you know what? It always get replaced with something better.
Oh, for sure.
God always took care of it. And that's something else that was crazy. And I think Mimi saw that also. Yeah. She saw the fact that I didn't have to take this money because God was going to provide for us this way.
That's crazy. Yeah. And you started you were already working at the Y.
Yeah, I was working at the Y.
Which was crazy to me because you were doing the DJ stuff, but then also you, in the back of who you are, have always had this desire to connect with kids, to connect with teenagers, to connect with them because you were working their after school program. Yes. You even while you were doing all the other stuff, they promoted you to a managerial position at the Y, and you were running their programs and still do that some even now. Yeah. And
Southside Rec, what's up?
What's up? And so when you told me that, and then you were really interested in the Back to School Bash, I was like, okay, I got an idea. Yeah. But, and this, I don't know, like, for me, I think the biggest thing that I did that I can look back at and be like, I made the right move was never telling you what to do. Yeah. Like, and that made you so mad so much.
Yes, it did.
But like,
it angered me.
And I don't even
Because as a mentor, I'm expecting you to say something.
Right. I'm glad you said that because I don't like to call myself the mentor, like mentor, mentee, master grasshopper.
No, for real.
But the truth is, like, I was called, and I totally believe that I was called to be that person in your life to help you navigate through those really rough moments. And I didn't always feel qualified to give you the answer. And the moments that I did feel qualified to give you the answer, I felt like God was like, don't give him the answer because he needed you to figure it out. And it never need to come back and look like, well, you're the one that told me to do this.
Right.
And I never wanted to have the success of leading you in the right direction or the failure put on me of.
You want to stay neutral.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel it.
Especially for you, because you were so audibly consumed with the voice of God in your life that you often were just asking me, did I hear that right? And I'm like, bro, I didn't hear it. Why are you asking? Like,
right.
I think God wants me to start a 5-6 ministry. I'm like, okay. And you're like, what should I do? I'm like, God told you to start a 5-6 ministry? Yeah. What should I do? Bruh, start a 5-6. Like, I don't know. Do what God told you to do. But I never wanted to be like, all right, here's step 1, step 2, step 3. Now, like, working those steps out with us together was awesome journey, even for me, of seeing you kind of map that out. It was kind of like, and you're older than me, so I can say this. It's kind of like watching a kid try to figure stuff out. Yeah. Even though at the time I'm like, oh no, I know what to do. Yeah, oh, man, I know some stuff. Yeah. But your journey is.
So you play the role, basically, is what you say.
Oh, for sure. I try. Like, that's the best part is just stay quiet and let people assume you're dumb instead of opening your mouth and give them no doubt.
Pretty good.
So a lot of and I think that's where a lot of mentor-mentee relationships struggle is that you become so dependent on me. And that was the biggest thing I didn't want you to do because honestly, I didn't know 2.5 years ago, that we were consistently going to be where we are today. I didn't know this was going to turn into a lifelong, every Thursday breakfast. I was like, at best, this might be seasonal.
Wow.
Like, I'm just saying, like, I didn't know that it was going to connect like that. Oh, wow.
I had to turn to that camera.
But the truth is, like, I wanted you to not be so dependent on me.
Right.
I wanted you to be dependent on what you heard, what you believed, and what God was saying you do. Because I never wanted to be, I'm here because Brendan told me to.
Right.
I'm here because God led me here.
Yeah.
And that was a pivotal moment, I think, in our relationship when you just got to come ask me questions along the journey instead of, okay,
it's been a ride, though.
Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do?
It's been a ride.
For sure, man. What has been the most enjoyable part of the process?
Camp.
Really?
I love camp, bro. I love going to camp.
Youth camp.
Youth camp is amazing for two things.
Yeah.
The Ironman, I love it. I love seeing those kids run around do that type stuff.
It's that you got to talk to people that don't know what camp is.
The camp is where you go and you take the kids and they do camp activities, outside stuff. There's no internet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
they compete against each other.
Different things. That's what the Ironman is. Anyways, but the number one reason I like going to camp is the services.
Yeah.
The services are like no other, dude. And to hear 900 kids sing about God, it's tear jerking.
Yeah,
it's tear jerking, bro.
It hits you in the
feels. It hits you, like for real. It makes you feel a certain type of way.
Why do you think that atmosphere is available at a camp? I know what I think because I worked camp for.
You mean
years.
Why is it available?
Why does it happen there?
I think it's where they can feel more comfortable, more free, because they're amongst peers. And that's the thing about it. I don't understand, like, when they're amongst peers there, it's open. They're more open to hearing from God. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I wish they'd take that everywhere, but, you know, that's what I think. What about you?
No, I think camp is so conducive to miraculous thing happening because number one, the expectation is there. Sometimes we come on a Sunday or a Wednesday to service and our expectation is I want to see my friends. Our expectation is I got an hour. Our expectation is I got school tomorrow. I got this different stuff. At camp, you take away technology, you take away communication, you take away distraction, and they literally walk into a service where everyone has told them, you're going to meet God here. And so their expectation is, I'm going to get something, which is so awesome and yet so challenging for me that, like, why don't we bring that same expectation everywhere we go, man?
Man, if that was church
service
normal.
Yeah, real talk.
And
it can be.
It should be.
Right. And I tell you.
It should be.
Well, that's what we challenge our people all the time. Like,
and see, that's what we do in 5-6.
Like, yeah.
5-6, we do. I think in 5-6, I think we do something that no other church does. I hope we do. And that's whenever we spend time with God. I tell the kids almost every week that they're world changers. And the kids that are there for a purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what we do is we spend 15 minutes where it's just them and God. I separate them. I get them away from their friends. You're by yourself sitting down thinking about topics. I let them know that for kids who can't pray, it's like, today we're going to pray for your families. And if you don't know how to pray for your families, just start off with, Dear God, I need you to pray for my family today, and let them know what's going on. I mean, because like I tell them, it doesn't matter what I say. I can go up there and preach the best sermon. You've told me that. Preach the best sermon in the world. Doesn't matter as long as they connect with God. That's what matters over anything.
So real. So good, man. So 5-6, you talk about 5-6. Let's get back into your story. So you come and 5-6, obviously meaning 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah,
because that's such a crazy age, right?
That's crazy too.
They're not. I mean, they're still in elementary, but they're like on the top level. And so we realized at our church that it was really difficult to hold the attention of a 1st grader and a 5th and 6th grader at the same time. And we were like, we need to, because we have availability, we need to maybe isolate those 5th and 6th graders and give them their own service. And so Jeremy approached you. We talked to you about it. And, dude, that's been like your
It was crazy.
masterpiece.
You know why I think it was so wild? It's because I was doing 5th and 6th grade. It's like he was just training me, you know, with the why to do 5th and 6th grade. You know what I'm saying?
God was just
training me, you know. So whenever I came here and we started doing it, I was nervous, dude. My first day of doing it, I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. What is going on? What is going on? And I just kept hearing God saying the word, to just get into the word, watch YouTube. TD Jakes, he kept saying, TD Jakes, man, what's TD Jakes?
It's my dude, bro.
That dude is a beast. And so yeah, I just started watching those guys and digging deeper and understanding like the values of authentic relationship with God. That's my number one. Out of all the values that we have in the church, authentic relationship with God is probably like my number one. I want you to have the experience that I had, and it's possible if you just spend time with them.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we have to do with our kids, the 5th and 6th graders. And people think that, they're just 5th and 6th grade kids.
Yeah.
No, they're not, man. These kids, y'all's kids are so in tune with God that y'all would never even believe it. Like, for real. I mean, like, we have, I even kind of separated them. We have, the beginners.
Yeah.
Then we have the middle Christians. And then we got the VIPs.
Hello.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've had kids preach in 5-6.
Yeah, you have.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm just letting you know, y'all's kids are ready. They're ready. So, and then what's even better about 5-6 is seeing them go from 5th grade to 6th grade and go to youth. And they're in the front with their hands raised, praising God. And the older kids are looking at them like, look at these kids. But they're going hard. Riley Reed and all them, they go hard up there in the front.
They're raising the level, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that was definitely one of the most game-changing things for our next gen department was to isolate that 5-6. And you as the leader, man, you have just set an atmosphere that is conducive to kids getting on their face and encountering the presence of a real living God. And you challenge it. And your expectation is that they do it.
Yes, I expect it.
We got cereal in the back, and we play games, and we got small, but
when it's God's time, it's God's time.
It's so dope, man.
Yeah.
So dope. Let's go switch gears for a second because everybody, again, we talked about it a little bit. The assumption is, man, you give your life to Christ and everything gets easier. Everything gets smoother.
Not at all.
But
not at all.
I think the caveat is, the trade-off is, you've never felt more fulfilled.
Never in my life. I'm so fulfilled right now.
Yeah.
With purpose.
You're making more money. Yeah. You were making, you big names, influencers in your life, all that stuff. Yeah. But
nothing beats what I do now.
So talk through this for a second, because there's probably some people that, they made that first step of giving their life to Christ, and their expectation was, man, everything's going to get easier. And there were challenging times. There was moments that were really, really hard. Talk about for a second, like in that transitional period, finding out what is honoring for God. And that was something we talked about a lot. When you were asking me, should I do this? Should I not do that? That question I just kind of kept giving you was, well, would that honor God? And trying to figure out for you, where's the line? What can I do? What can I not do? And truly, it's not even a what was sin, what was not sin, but what in my actions honor God? We talked about you gave up playing games. You gave up, your Xbox. You gave up for seasons. You gave up tons of stuff. Obviously, you gave up drinking altogether and all that stuff, which was so funny because I think a lot of people will hear that first part of the episode when you were like 3 beers and 2 shots. But like for you, that was probably the only thing you were going to listen to at the time. I know somebody's going to be like, God wouldn't have told him to drink 3 beers and 2 shots. He wasn't telling him to. No. God was saying, hey, I need you to limit. I need you to limit. And if you would have heard that voice say, don't drink nothing, you'd have been like, whatever.
Yeah,
but there was a stair step that God was getting you to.
At that time, that wouldn't have been heard of at all.
Yeah, there's a stair step that God was getting you to, that he needed you to take this first step first. Hey, would you listen to me in this moment? Mm-hmm. But there were some bigger things that he tried to rip out of your life. What was the hard stuff? What was the hardest thing?
Well, there was a couple hard things,
and not just the stuff you gave up, but the hardest stuff you walked through during this process.
I think the hardest thing I walked through is giving up the money, because I was the amount of bread that was being made, just working in those clubs, and trying to maintain faith that God's going to take care of all your bills. And then having your wife, who don't believe the same as you believe, have to follow you. Man, that was tough. That was tough, bro. That was tough.
What kind of conversations did that
create
between you and
Mimi? Those led some conversations, man. Those led because me and my wife.
Conversations or confrontations?
Both. Because me and my wife, she's the yin and I'm the yang. Like, I'm not a money person. Yeah. But she's a Capricorn. We're both Capricorns. Yeah. So we're like, hey, get bread. Yeah. And I wasn't getting that bread like that because I was like, well, I'm about to make it off this check from the YMCA. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. And you're just going to have to understand that. And I think that's the only time I've really vetoed her. You know what I'm saying? I've never really, foot down. This is what's happening. Yeah. But I felt the conviction on my heart that I had to get out of that area. And if I didn't, I wasn't gonna progress or move forward. So I had to. That and when the video games. And how did she? Let's talk about the video games for a minute, because you told me that of everything you gave up, that was the thing she was like, huh? Yeah, it blew her away. And I think we've noticed this in everything you've done. When you put your mind to do something, you can't be average at anything. And so you started playing 2K back in the DZ, back in the early days, and you literally got good at it. We're playing in professional tournaments and stuff like that, playing every day with your boys online and stuff like that. And we talked about it, and you were like, it was one of those, you walk in at breakfast with your head down, you're like, hey, man, tell me what this means. And I'm thinking I'm about to have to interpret tongues or something. I'm like, okay. And you go, God said, because now it has turned to God and not just the voice. Because up until that point, it's the voice that God told me to give you my Xbox. And I'm like, how old is your Xbox? Like, what? Yeah. And you're like, nah. Like, I think he told me to do that because I'm spending too much time playing video games instead of spending time with him. And I was like, oh. Yeah. And facts. I didn't even realize at the time how big of a statement that was, because I didn't know how much you were playing. Man. And you were like, so I need to give you, it was like Christmas last year. You're like, I need to give you my Xbox. Mm-hmm. I was like, for how long? And you were like, until you want to give it back. And I was like, oh, now the pressure's on me. Yeah. And so you literally drove up to the church, handed me your Xbox controllers, consoles, all that stuff. Yes. And then the next week you're like, bro, Mimi. Yeah. Mimi was like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like, that was the big statement moment for her. It was. Which was crazy. You didn't expect that. No, not at all. I couldn't expect it because, that's what I did. That was another avenue of money. You know what I'm saying? That's another avenue of money. I mean, and he replaced it. Yeah. It would always be replaced. So, I mean, it's amazing. it's amazing to me that the impact that it made on her also pushed her closer.
Right, because she saw you give up something that, I mean, we can churchify it if we want, was kind of like an idol in your life.
Yeah.
And she saw you so, not necessarily like easily.
No,
but you made the choice and you stuck with it.
Yeah.
And you put yourself in a position to where you couldn't easily go back to it because you gave it to me. It was in my office.
And I had a PlayStation.
Yeah.
I have a PlayStation, don't even play it. That Xbox is what he wanted.
Yeah.
Because he knew the Xbox is where I'd spend most of my time, most of my money. He didn't say anything about my PlayStation. He didn't say nothing about my Alienware PC.
Yeah.
He said that Xbox. And you know what that did? I grew so much in those times when I didn't have that, because all I did was watch preachers and write down stuff and take notes and do soap and all that other stuff, bro. Like, for real. It's crazy.
So
crazy.
So I think you gave it to me like in September, October, and I gave it to you back as a Christmas present.
Yeah.
And I will be like, this dude looked like my daughter on Christmas Day. He's like, get out. Like I put it in a box and a bow on it. And I was like, here you go.
So happy.
The crazy thing is you thought I was giving you like a good present and I was giving you back the Xbox.
It was a good present to me. I was so happy. I was so happy.
Oh, man. Dude, this has been unreal.
It feels unreal.
Like the whole process, like it feels like it's taken a week, but it's 2.5 years of just steady changing the grind, but it's still a grind.
Yes,
it is. I think that's the thing that's probably most attractive to you, has kept you, is that it didn't come easy.
Right.
And like through your life, as we look through some of the stuff and the battles and the failures and the different things that you walk through, you were successful, but it was never easy.
Right.
Like the magazine, the DJ, playing, like you grinded out the win every single time.
Right.
And now it's just a different grind.
It's just a different grind.
And you can almost point at points in your life where God was like honing in, sealing in that mentality of the grind in you. Because when you got to that point of giving your life to Christ and all that he has had for you and all that he still has for you, you were going to have to grind for it.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like God just came down and it's like, here's the perfect life.
Yeah.
Here's your calling.
Yeah.
Here's the perfect ministry. Yeah. Here's your whole family saved.
The failures is what made me strong.
Yeah.
And made me strong in the failures is what made me strong stronger in my belief.
Yeah, yeah.
Because now it's like, even if it doesn't work, I still have him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Before it was, even if it doesn't work, I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it took me a while to change that mind frame, because once you hustle and grind so long, that's the first thing. Grind until you get it. Yeah. Grind until you get it. Or I got to make it happen. That's something that everybody says, oh, I got to make this happen. Yeah. And when you're a grinder. But now I don't. Trust in him and he'll make it happen.
Yeah.
That's something it took me a while. It took me a while to surrender that.
Which I literally had that same thought in my devotion this morning. It's such a more peaceful place to be at when you realize it doesn't just depend on you.
Yes.
Like God's going to open the next door when it's time to open. You don't have to keep bashing against it. And now, we still don't know what all God has for your future, but we've got some ideas of what's coming up next. And it's exciting to see the growth in you so quickly. Like, just, again, there's been people that have been serving God for years and years and years and still are struggling with some of the stuff that, not that you've completely conquered, but you've been able to give up because I think you were so late in life when you did come to know Christ, which is by itself a huge victory in the percentages of what we see, that past a certain age, the percentage of someone actually coming to know Christ that hasn't yet is small. Yeah. And you were 38.
Yeah.
38 now?
No, I'm 39 now.
39. So you were 37, 38.
In January.
40. God, you're old.
I am. I am.
But dude, I know we could sit here and talk for hours, and this might have to just be one full episode. We might just give this out as like a bonus, like full hour length. Right. We've been trying to keep everything to 20 minutes, but I don't know that your story can be broken down like that. So I'm excited to see how this comes out, and man, I hope these guys like it. Just a reminder, man, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like, subscribe button. And what I'd love for you to do, post a comment. Post a comment about maybe who you'd like to see me interview, some questions maybe that you have for Mason and what he's doing. Maybe today you heard this and you are really challenged to jump on board with the ministry at Christ Church, or you've got some questions about what God has for your future. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to give you just as little answers as I gave this dude, but hopefully I can ask some good questions.
What do you think you're going to be doing?
I can ask some good questions that can help you out. And I bet some of you, man, you want to get involved in what Mason is doing in his ministry. We'd love for that. He's always looking for volunteers and people that love kids.
Definitely.
So, dude, thank you for being here. Thanks for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me, man. This was awesome.
And you've got a podcast that you do yourself.
Oh, yeah, we do the Dallas MixShow. Let me go ahead and throw those out. Dallas MixShow, man. Make sure y'all check it out every Wednesdays. And we're on Dash Radio from 6 to 8 on Sundays.
Cool, bro. All right, well, that's the end of this episode. I will be coming out with the next one here in a couple of weeks, the first and third Wednesday of the month. You can look for all your content right here at The Movement. God bless. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us today here at The Movement Podcast. Once again, if you enjoyed the conversation, keep it going by dropping a comment or hitting the thumbs up button. If you have any ideas for future episodes, feel free to let us know. In order to know when our next episode comes out, please hit the subscribe button and tap the little bell so you can get notified when we put out future episodes. Thanks again for being part of The Movement.